Welcome back to the channel, Talking with Beauties, episode 146, part 2 of the 4-part series talking about international hockey. We'll take a look at the Four Nations games, all the rosters, and from that, take the best players into the Olympics, talking about Team Sweden. So today we're talking about everything Team Sweden. Where it comes to Team Sweden, they're a powerhouse. I mean, they got some of the biggest defensemen, some of the biggest goal scorers, and some of the biggest goalies in the league today for the NHL. They also got a lot of good players overseas. So what kind of roster will we see in the Olympics for this? Will we see an all NHL roster? Will we see a mix of NHL and overseas? I don't know, but I have my predictions here for you. But let's look at what they did in the Four Nations. So they got one win in regulation. That was a big win against the U.S. Unfortunately, that was not a winner-takes-all kind of performance game for the Swedes and for the U.S. It was a game that really honestly did not matter. The U.S. did not have a full stack lineup. The Swedes had a couple of sicknesses which couldn't let them get all their stack guys in there, like Rickard Rakell. He missed that last game. But regardless, Sweden won that game. They go out with a win. That was huge. They also had 2 overtime losses. They're the only team in the tournament to not lose in regulation. So that was big for Sweden and the performance moving forward for the Swedes. For the roster, we'll start off with the goalies. Samuel Ersson, Filip Gustavsson, and Linus Ullmark all played at least one game in this one. Ersson played that last game, got the only win for Sweden in the U.S. match, a .970 save percentage in that game, 1 goal against. Absolutely electric game for Ersson. Gustavsson played 2 games, gave up 4.18 goals against. Ullmark played half of game. He came in against Finland for Filip Gustavsson. He did get the loss in that one. 2.88 goals against, average, an .882 save percentage. So honestly, not that bad from either goalie that did not get the win. Overall, pretty good looking goaltending roster. Just not getting the performance when it came to the offense. For the defense, they had Rasmus Andersson, Jonas Brodin, Rasmus Dahlin, Mattias Ekholm, Gustav Forsling, Victor Hedman, and Erik Karlsson. Really good defense. Erik Karlsson had a great tournament, a +2 rating, 3 points in 3 games. All these defensemen did play at least 1 game. Rasmus Andersson was the only one that did not play 3 games. He only played 1. So that was a little bit tough news for them. Forward-wise, they had Victor Arvidsson, Jesper Bratt, Leo Carlsson, Joel Eriksson Ek, Philip Forsberg, Adrian Kempe, Elias Lindholm, William Nylander, Gustav Nyquist, Elias Pettersson, Rickard Rakell, Lucas Raymond, and Mika Zibanejad. Their average height was 6'1", average weight 198 pounds, and their average age 28.74 years old. So, just like the Finland video that if you guys did not check out, go check out because we did exactly the same thing as we're going to do this one, which is who earned a spot onto my Olympic roster based off of their Four Nation performances. Wow, what a mouthful there. We'll start off with the goalies. I think Filip Gustavsson and Samuel Ersson really did deserve a spot in here. I think they both played pretty well. Gustavsson was thrown into 2 tough games starting off, and I think that was really not a reflection on how good he is in the regular season. But this, based on the Four Nations, I think he did play pretty well. Samuel Ersson looked absolutely electric against the U.S., giving up that 1 goal off of a rebound, not even his fault, had no chance to make that save. I think Ersson is a lock. Then we go to the defense. Jonas Brodin, Rasmus Dahlin, Mattias Ekholm, Gustav Forsling, Victor Hedman, and Erik Karlsson, I think are all locks. I think the defense looked very good for Sweden. I think there's not many better options in the league besides those guys there. So I think all of those guys are keeping their stay in this one. For the forwards, I got Jesper Bratt, Joel Eriksson Ek, Adrian Kempe, William Nylander, Gustav Nyquist, Rickard Rakell, Lucas Raymond, and Mika Zibanejad. I think there's a couple of guys in there that you might think he didn't play all that great. Nylander, I wish he did a little bit more, but I still think overall they looked pretty solid based off of the teams that they had to go against. They had to play against Canada on the road in Canada, and they had to play against U.S. in the United States. So those are two tough matchups, plus the loss against Finland is a tough one, but it's just it's a tough tournament. It's 3 games, maybe 4 games if you're lucky. And I think these guys did pretty well in those 3 games that they played. For the guys that did not make the cut, goalies, Linus Ullmark. I just don't think Linus was all that spectacular in that game. Yes, he made some saves, but I thought there was a couple that just didn't really do all that much, and he didn't really play all that much either, so I think that just made the cut, did not make the cut. Rasmus Andersson only played 1 game, pretty much the only reason why he didn't make the cut. Victor Arvidsson, didn't even really notice he was out there. I think that was pretty much the biggest reason why I don't think he should make the cut for this. Leo Carlsson only played 1 game. It hurts me not to put in an Anaheim Duck because I love the Anaheim Ducks, and I think he deserves a spot here, but based off of playing 1 game, I don't think that's enough to get you in there. Philip Forsberg, I think, could be a guy who is one of the top players in Sweden's history when it comes to current players right now, for sure. But I just thought he was lost out there. I didn't see him. I didn't hear his name at all. So I think he doesn't make the cut. Elias Lindholm and Elias Pettersson. Pettersson is one of the worst players right now in the league. He can't figure it out. And Elias Lindholm can't seem to figure it out as well, signing that big 7-year contract with Boston. I think both of those guys just did not play well in this tournament. I think both missed the cut. All right, now for the Olympic roster. Obviously, 25 total players, 3 goalies, 8 defensemen, 4 forwards. They could dress 20 players at one time with 2 goalies per game. We'll start off with the goalies. I got Philip Gustafsson, Samuel Ersson. They said that was a lock before. And the last one, Jacob Markstrom. Markstrom should have been in this lineup. He's an all-star. He is absolutely electric this year with New Jersey. The injury came at a terrible time. I think this Sweden team would have been a lot more competitive with Markstrom in the lineup. So Markstrom is a lock for the Sweden national team in the Olympics. So he is moving on. Sorry, Ullmark, but I think Markstrom is taking his spot big time. Then we head to the defense. We got Brodin, Dahlin, Ekholm, Forsling, Hedman, Carlson. That leaves us 2 spots open. We'll start off Hampus Lindholm. I think this is a guy who is, as long as he stays healthy, is one of the top defensemen in the league. Know him pretty well in his time in Anaheim. Now he's over in Boston. He did pretty well with McAvoy out. McAvoy's out right now. Maybe he gets back in that lineup and is able to spark some big offensive plays for not just Boston, but Sweden moving forward. I think Hampus Lindholm makes the Swedish roster for the Olympics. And the last one, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I think this is a sneaky one here. I could see Ekman-Larsson not making the cut for the Swedes, but I also think you want guys that are veteran guys who have been at these big tournaments, who have been around a long time and seen these big games. Ekman-Larsson is an older guy. They have a couple older guys already when it comes to Ekholm, Hedman, Carlson, but I could see a guy like Ekman-Larsson being a 6th, 7th defenseman, maybe doesn't play all the games, but he knows what he's doing. He knows how to rally the troops. I think Ekman-Larsson could be a lock on this defense here. Now for the forwards, the locks in the white colors are Bratt, Eriksson Ek, Kempe, Nylander, Nyquist, Raquel, Raymond, and Zibanejad. I think they all are an absolute lock moving into the Olympics. Now for the new guys, well, not so much new guy. A guy who I didn't think played all that well, but is it back in the lineup? Victor Arvidsson. I think Arvidsson is still a good player. He's not having all that spectacular of a year in my eyes in Edmonton, but I think he's good enough that he will crack this roster. I think Arvidsson gets back into the groove there. William Karlsson. He's a guy from Vegas that did not make this team because of injury. I think he is getting back in there. He's a for sure lock. Karlsson in there. Philip Forsberg, for sure lock. Did not play all that well, but you can't leave him out. Forsberg's back in there. Andre Burakovsky. I actually am surprised to not see Burakovsky's name initially in the lineup. I think Burakovsky is definitely a lock for this Swedish team. I think he's going to help tremendously when it comes to the Swedish offense. Elias Pettersson. This is a hot take. I don't think Pettersson's all that good right now. Maybe he figures it out, and I'm banking on him figuring it out between now and the break for the Olympics. I think he could find his way. Who knows if he does or doesn't? I personally think he can. If he doesn't, I wouldn't be surprised. There's a couple other names that I'll throw out there at the end that I think could take his spot, but Elias Pettersson, I think, is on the hot seat based off his performance at the Four Nations and what he's doing right now in the NHL for Vancouver. And the last one, Alexander Wennberg. I think Wennberg's a good player. I think he's a little bit underrated. I could see him as that 3rd or 4th line forward, kind of be a depth guy for the team, I think that could be a very good possibility to see him in this lineup. Players that just missed the cut. I think Rasmus Andersson could be a guy to get back in the lineup. I mean, there's a couple of guys that, I mean, Ekman Larsson could be a guy that doesn't make this lineup, but I could see Rasmus Andersson getting back in there. We'll just see if he stays healthy. Matthias Janmark, good player. I think he could get back into this roster as well. And Linus Ullmark. I think if Markstrom is, as long as he's healthy, he's staying in there. But I could see a Samuel Ersing not making the cut. Even though he played outstanding, I could see Linus Ullmark just beating him out because of seniority there. So that's just something to look at when it comes to the goalies. I think there's 4 goalies that they could take. I think Ullmark might be the one that they kind of pass on, but who knows? We got a lot of time between now and the Olympics. All right, guys, that will do it for this episode, part 2 of a 4-part series where we talk about all international teams. This one was all about Team Sweden. If you didn't check out the one before, we talked all about Team Finland, everything that we just did now, we did for Team Finland. So go check out that roster. Let me know what you guys think about that one. Let me know what you guys think about this one. This one was a very good roster already, so it was very hard to tweak it. But I think the tweaks that I made are very good tweaks, and they definitely are plausible. So let me know down below what you guys think or what you guys would do. Maybe there's a player that I just totally overlooked and I should probably put in my lineup. But let me know. Make sure you guys hit that bell icon if you guys are on YouTube so you guys are notified when part 3 and 4 come out, because we got Canada and the US coming up next. So you guys don't want to miss out on that. But have an awesome rest of your week, and we'll see you guys later.